I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the ink zone with a tattoo machine. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. A few weeks ago, somebody came up to me and they said, Coyote, do you think that getting a tattoo is like putting your hand into a box with a bunch of insects and getting stung over and over again? Literally stopped dead in my tracks and I said, I can't answer that question because in 42 years, I have never gotten a tattoo. Which of course immediately gave me the idea that like, well, maybe I should think about getting a tattoo so we could answer that question. Thus brings us to today and my good friend, Kurt Everett. Today we're in Columbus, Ohio, and we're at his studio, Enzo Tattoo, and I'm going to be getting my very first tattoo. But before we get into the design, which we will reveal here shortly, first, let's get a little education on tattoos. Now, Kurt, how long have you been providing permanent ink on people's skin?
10 years now.
10 years. Okay, so I feel pretty good in your steady, confident hands. But when you're defining a tattoo, how would you most simply describe it to the audience?
It's as simple as pigment placed in between the layers of skin.
And that just makes it permanent.
Yep. There is, depending on whether it's color or black, black is carbon, which you're getting a tattoo today, and carbon is very permanent.
Okay, so once you make that choice, there's no going back. And like I noted earlier, this is an important decision. I feel very good about the design that I have chosen, but tattoos aren't for everybody and they're for somebody. So you've put a lot of tattoos on people.
Absolutely.
You got some tattoos yourself, how many?
Yeah, too many to actually put a number on.
Okay, and when it comes to the pain aspect, for context, most of the audience knows I get a little squeamish around needles, but I heard this might be a little bit different.
A lot different.
Okay.
So a syringe is completely different than the needles we use. Syringe is hollow. We use needles that are barely scratching the surface of the skin.
Okay.
We're not going into the fatty tissue, we're just getting through the first epidermis.
Okay, well that immediately makes me feel better. And tattoos are an important choice for anybody. And I know a lot of people out there watching may be of the younger age demographic, and we certainly want to address the fact that this is not a decision that's made lightly. And you put a lot of permanent images on people's body. Why do you feel that people want tattoos?
Well, I mean, simply put, they're fashionable, but also they have meaning. They memorialize things, they can bring joy to your life in many different forms. But as you said, tattoos are not for everyone. You don't need to feel like you have to get a tattoo, but if something resonates with you, then you should pursue it.
Yeah, I like that. And that's exactly why I have chosen the design that I'm going with today. We will reveal this at the end of the episode, but it is something from culture that was extremely meaningful to me. I grew up traveling across the United States, spending a lot of time in the Southwest. And this design specifically is a maze, and it represents the journey of one's own life. And I have a great appreciation of the culture from where this came. It's got a lot of meaning through my childhood, my adulthood, and where I'm ultimately at now with this journey I'm on. 10 years into Brave Wilderness and embracing the fact that I'm kind of the guy that gets bit and stung by a lot of crazy things, but I do it for a good reason, trying to draw attention to educating people about these animals and of course trying to promote conservation when applicable. So the maze itself for me is not only about the journey, but also represents Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, and they kind of run parallel to each other. And I know that, you know, mazes throughout time have been very popular in culture, and that's why for me I feel like this is going to be something super meaningful that I will be able to carry with me for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. I'm really honored that you're allowing me to do it for you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because we've only known each other for about a year now, but we became fast friends, and the second that this episode came up I was like, I know exactly where we can make this happen. So what's our first step? I imagine we're gonna have to shave some of the hair off my forearm, right?
So first step is we will start cleaning the surface of your skin and prepping it just like you would prep for surgery.
Okay, this is almost like I prep for bite and sting episodes. Everybody always sees me buzzing the hair off of my forearm. That's because we like to have a nice clean palate so you can see that sting and you can see the reaction. Only today's is gonna be a lot more permanent. 42 years of life and I've never gotten a tattoo. My arm, my future is in your hands. In my line of work, I spend a lot of time on the go searching for cool animals. But I still need to make sure I'm getting a delicious and nutritious snack to keep me going. And that's where Chomps comes in. My Chomps! With no mesh, 10 to 12 grams of protein, and 0 sugar, Chomps is my go-to travel snack.
Dang, bro. They got his chomps.
I love the original beef, but I also love that there's so many other great tasting options like jalapeno beef and original turkey. They're made with 100% real food and no harmful ingredients, which means they're perfect for when you're on the go. Or back at Brave Wilderness HQ. It's the perfect snack. Wouldn't you agree? To learn more about Chomps or find one of the 20,000 stores near you that carry Chomps, visit chomps.com/coyote or click the link in the episode description and share in the comments which new flavors you'd like to see Chomps make next. Thanks to Chomps for sponsoring this video.
All right, so all I need you to do is relax, chill out as much as you can, focus on your breathing.
I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to enter the ink zone with a tattoo machine. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. All right, first impact, noticeable. And right out of the gate, I can tell you that the impact of the needle definitely feels on par with a harvester ant sting. For those of you that don't know, the nickname Coyote has been with me for a very long time. As a kid, my mom used to travel my sister and I across the country. We would start in Ohio and make it all the way to Arizona, where we spent a considerable amount of time in the Southwest, Tucson specifically, and the whole area that is known as the Sonoran Desert. So as a kid, I used to follow roadrunners around in the desert because I had this theory that roadrunners primarily feast upon lizards. And as a young kid, I wanted to catch these lizards, specifically horned lizards. The regal horned lizard is my favorite lizard on the planet. And I thought, if I follow these roadrunners around, eventually that roadrunner sees a horned lizard, I'll scare off the roadrunner and catch the lizard. So my mom started calling me the Coyote, like from the Warner Brothers cartoon, The Coyote and the Roadrunner, and the nickname basically stuck. You know, it seemed to be perfectly fitting once we launched animal adventure content. My life that I spent in the Southwest was incredibly meaningful. My mom really gave me this incredibly long leash to go out and explore. You know, I was responsible, she trusted me, and we spent a lot of time absorbing the local culture, the people that live there, specifically the Tohono O'odham American Indians. I spent time on reservations, I spent time learning from people there, going to different ceremonies, and really absorbing that culture and getting an appreciation for our planet. I mean, when I look at my internal upbringing, my spirituality, how I'm connected to everything that is the world of animals and what I want to do with protecting species and the planet, I can center it all back to the time that I spent in the Sonoran Desert. The tattoo that I'm getting, the symbol that I'm getting on my arm is an influence that's come through multiple cultures. It's a maze, and it signifies one's journey through life. My journey to this point, 42 years, has been pretty wild. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges, the points where I've had to turn back and say, all right, how do you learn from your mistakes and start over? Where do you begin again and not give up on that journey? And that is what this image is representative of. It is what's known as the man in the maze. We are all walking a maze in life. Each individual person is on their own unique spiritual journey. Of course, Brave Wilderness is hitting its 10-year anniversary this year, which for me, I feel is really important to say, I'm on the journey, I'm staying focused, let's keep moving forward. Why not now is kind of what I said to myself. There was a lot of thought that went into deciding on this symbol, on this design and its meaning. And I did do some deep soul searching to say, all right, am I really doing this? But one of the elements of where the influence came in is exactly what I do as an entertainer and a content creator. I have taken so many bites and stings, maybe arguably more intentional bites and stings than any human on the planet at this point. I don't know, I'm not claiming that officially. But how could I not be able to compare it to this?
Well, first off, you back? You good?
Yo, that one, whatever that spot was, that hurt.
That got you.
Okay,
That got you good.
hold on. This is a different level. Let me finish this and then finish this part, and then I'm gonna have to tell. This is,
All right.
I don't know where you're at, but this is way more painful than where you were earlier.
I won't lie. We're doing circles and lines. This is actually a very technical tattoo.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it was easy because it's circles and lines. So technical.
Yeah, no, technical, very technical. I mean, repeated patterns, you know, circle geometry wrapping around the skin, you know, three-dimensional form. It's always a little bit more difficult, but honestly, I'm having fun.
I will say that when I stop talking, I do notice the pain significantly more. Maybe it's just the part of my body or my forearm that you're on. Is that like on a vein or something?
That is closer to your elbow ditch. So it's just,
Okay.
we crossed over from the inside to a little bit more exterior.
Oh man. Oh, that's it. Okay, can you pause the tattoo needle for
You're
just a
good.
second?
You're good.
All right, this camera's still running, right? Okay. So that spot that you just hit there definitely went far beyond harvester ant. I would put it on par with like a 3 to a 3.5. Important to note, no venom going into the arm. The ink, which is carbon-based, which makes it permanent, does not have a neurotoxic effect. So I'm not receiving, once the needle stops moving, any additional pain. It's sore, but man, whatever that spot was that you just hit, intense.
Gotcha.
Why
Did you
was
get
that?
like a little bit of a lightning bolt? at
Like
first?
lightning bolt, like almost like you hit like, you know, that
Yeah.
little funny bone area. Like,
Probably just hit a sensitive nerve area.
Okay.
And you just probably felt a little bit of a lightning bolt go up your arm.
yeah, like all the way up into my armpit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was something.
We are currently using a straight 7, which is a medium-sized 7 grouped needles together.
7 grouped needles together.
Yep.
Wow. So this is like getting stung by 7 insect stingers over and over and over again. And how many times a second is this piercing my skin?
I'd have to look at the readout, but a lot.
A lot. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my first tattoo. Now, what I will say is the pain isn't nearly as intense as I thought it was going to be. At a tops, I would say a couple of spots felt like a 3, which I would compare to the cow killer or velvet ant, and that's just like stinger insertion. Remember, no venom, so there was no real after effect. It feels a little sore at the moment, but I think I handled it pretty well. Kurt, what do you think?
Great.
Yeah.
You did great.
I didn't squirm. I'm really not sweating that much, to be honest. This is an incredibly meaningful symbol to me. It represents the man in the maze, and my interpretation of that is the Coyote Peterson logo representing me as the person who's going through a wild journey right now. 42 years of age, helping to build the brave wilderness empire that it has become, bringing you guys animals, adventure, education, promoting conservation. This represents my journey in life so far. Now, the twists and the turns, the dead ends, all represent the points that we get to in life that we realize, did we make the right choice? Do you have to turn back, follow your steps, and pick a new path? Because I've been there multiple times. But eventually, you reach that dream, you reach that destiny that is the center point. And whether that becomes the end of your life or the achievement of an incredible goal, that is what the center of the maze represents. So Kurt, I am so honored that you put this on my arm. I am honored to be wearing this. Have a great appreciation for the culture where this came from. The Tohono O'odham people of the Sonoran Desert. This is where that influence comes from, and it looks amazing. I could not be happier with
Thank
what it
you
is,
so
dude.
much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely
Really appreciate
crushed it. All right, guys, well, thanks for joining us. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.